Hello and welcome to Awaz News. I'm Kubra Ali and I'll be taking you through big news across Canada.
Driver 21 dies after being shot at from another vehicle. In Toronto last week, suspect arrested. Motorcyclist intentionally hit cyclist in downtown Toronto, bike lane road rage, victim says. Rent for one-bedroom apartment in Toronto up more than 10% from last year, while Brampton sees a nearly 30% jump. Secondary teachers slam Doug Ford over comments on pronouns in schools. Ontario to move ahead with regional government review without facilitators. Harry Potter and Diary of Anne Frank still circulating in PTSB libraries despite criticism, says school board. One person seriously injured in daylight shooting in Brampton.
These were the headlines and let's jump right into the details.
Ontario's new Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing says that instead of hiring facilitators to assess the future of 6 of the province's regional governments, he wants a legislative committee to do the review. Paul Calendar announced early this week that he would review the move announced by his predecessor to have facilitators assess regional governments in Durham, Halton, Waterloo, York and Niagara regions and Simcoe County. Today he says in a statement that he has asked a legislative committee to instead conduct that review and notes that committees can carry out work in a public, open and accountable manner. He says the study should examine whether 2-tier governments in those regions support or hinder the construction of new homes and whether certain services could be combined or moved from one level of government to another. The previous minister, Steve Clark, resigned last month amid the fallout of 2 scathing reports on Greenbelt land swaps that found the process of selecting lands for housing favored certain developers. The government also enacted a law in the spring to break up the upper tier municipality of Peel region, which includes the municipalities of Mississauga, Brampton and Caledon. A cyclist was severely injured after they were struck by a motorcyclist in downtown Toronto bike lane in an alleged road rage incident caught on video last month. The biker was riding home from a dinner with a friend on August 25th at approximately 11:45 p.m. heading northbound on River Street when he said the suspect came out of a driveway or street just south of Dundas Street without stopping and almost hit them. There had been an interaction, not on video, just before where the motorcyclist cut off our client and he gestured with displeasure, the victim's lawyer David Shelnut said on Wednesday. When the biker turned into Dundas Street, the motorcyclist followed. In dashcam footage obtained by Awaz News, the motorist reaches the cyclist in the bike lane and knocks them off before fleeing eastbound. Toronto Police Constable Sean Shapiro confirmed the victim's story to Awaz News, saying, "This was absolutely a road rage incident. This isn't an obsidu. This is intentional contact," Shapiro said. He added that, at the very least, a fail to remain collision charge should be in order. For 5 days after the incident, the cyclist was in hospital with 5 ribs and 2 vertebrae broken, along with his clavicle broken into 2 places. "I feel like the physical pain will go away long before the psychological," he said. General alleges the suspect was on a gas-powered vehicle, either a motorbike or scooter without a plate. Toronto police are now searching for the suspect, who was on a black and silver motorcycle wearing a yellow flip shield helmet. This video is a regular occurrence. We see road violence on the street of Toronto with terrifying regularity. We really need enforcement entirely focused on roadway violence, Shelnut said. People drive as if it's right and not a privilege. Students renting a new apartment in Toronto for the school year may have been shocked to find rental prices have jumped by more than 10% in the city compared to a year ago. A new report from rentals.ca says the average monthly rent for a one-bedroom apartment in the city jumped to $2,620 in August, up 10.5% from August 2022. The price of an average 2-bedroom apartment now sits at $3,413 per month, up 7.1% from a year ago. Rental prices have also shot up in other parts of the GTA. In Brampton, the price of a one-bedroom apartment has skyrocketed 29% compared to last year and now sits at $2,274 per month. The price of a two-bedroom apartment in Brampton now sits at $2,650 per month, up 25.7% from a year ago. Rent for one-bedroom apartment in Mississauga is up 15.3% to $2,379, while the cost of a two-bedroom apartment in the city has jumped 18.4% to $2,872. Nationally, Vancouver still has the highest rent, with rent for a one-bedroom sitting just under $3,000 and rent for a two-bedroom sitting at $3,879. According to the report, rental prices in Canada are up 1.8% monthly and 9.6% annually, reaching a record high of $2,117 in August. While Toronto and Vancouver remain the most expensive markets for apartment renters, month-over-month rent increases were actually below average in the two cities in August. They rose just around 1.2% across one- and two-bedroom apartments in Toronto compared to July, and actually dropped about 0.9% across the same housing types in Vancouver in the same period. According to the report, asking rents are up by more than $100 over the past 3 months nationally across all housing types. The latest report comes as housing continues to be a major priority locally and federally. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau attended an event in London Wednesday where he announced $74 million from the Federal Housing Accelerator Fund to build 2,000 more high-density homes in the city over the next 3 years. London is the first city to get money through the fund, and the federal government said it would like to see the program fast-track at least 100,000 new homes across the country. The agreements for the funds require municipalities to end exclusionary zoning practices and encourage apartment building around public transit. The union representing Ontario secondary school teachers is slamming Premier Doug Ford and Education Minister Stephen Lecce for suggesting that public educators are trying to indoctrinate kids who decide to use different pronouns. OSSTF FEESO resoundingly rejects statements made by Premier Doug Ford and Minister of Education Stephen Lecce that attempt to manufacture false divisions between parents, educators, and students over issues of student privacy and gender expression. The Ontario Secondary School Teachers Federation, OSSTF, said in a statement released Wednesday. The statement comes after Premier Doug Ford spoke at a Ford Fest event in Kitchener last week and commented on debate over whether schools should have to inform parents if they decide to go by different pronouns in a classroom setting. Ford said parents need to be informed when their children make a decision around gender expression. His comments came on the heels of Saskatchewan joining New Brunswick in legislating parental consent for students under the age of 16 who want to change their given names and to pronounce at school. Lecce said last month that parents must be fully involved and fully aware of what's happening in the life of their children, particularly when it comes to life-changing decisions. Lecce did also say that schools need to be safe spaces for kids and said that the teachers and school boards should take into account where there are exceptional circumstances in a home that could lead to potential harm for a child. In their statement Wednesday, the union slammed both Ford and Lecce and said the comments put kids at risk. Critics have said a policy such as that brought forward in Saskatchewan forcing kids under 16 to obtain parental consent to use different pronouns could essentially force schools to out children to their parents at a difficult time for them. The OSSTF said it will vigorously defend its members in exercising their professional judgment in creating safe schools and upholding the Ontario Human Rights Code if the Ford government attempts to enact policy on the issue. The Peel District School Board has issued a statement following backlash over the ongoing weeding of some dated books from its libraries. Weeding refers to the process of removing books from circulation as information inside them becomes dated or inaccurate. Books can also be weeded when they fall into disrepair or when they fail to circulate a minimum number of times within a certain time frame. Weeding is a common practice within libraries that ensures any given collection stays current and relevant. In a statement to Awaz News, PDSB Director of Education Rashmi Swaroop said that teacher librarians have been directed to keep books with any publishing date as long as they are accurate, relevant to the student population, inclusive, not harmful, and support the current curriculum from the Ministry of Education. The statement, issued in the aftermath of social media backlash from parents due to the alleged removal of books like the Harry Potter series and The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank, emphasizes that such books remain in PTSB collection and, where needed, newer versions may be purchased if the book is in poor condition, per statement. In May of this year, Peel Schools issued a report on the Diversity and Equity Rollout Plan, which includes an item on reading. The first of three-step curation cycle in Peel Schools reading is described as an equity measure to ensure the removal of books that might perpetuate negative stereotypes and promote deficit thinking. Once reading is complete, Peel Schools will perform a representation audit, which will ensure the school board's book collection intentionally affirm students' identities that continues to be sparsely represented in PTSB's current collections and classrooms. A driver in their 20s has died in hospital after being shot at by an individual in another vehicle on a residential street in East Toronto last week, and a suspect has been arrested and charged, police say. The incident took place on September 5th on Dolly Warden Boulevard near Markham and Ellesmere Roads shortly before 5 p.m. Two vehicles were traveling northbound on Dolly Warden when an individual fired from one vehicle into the other, Toronto Police Service Inspector Jeff Bangold said at the scene. The driver of the vehicle was shot, investigators say, and second occupant managed to escape without being injured and quickly called police. The suspect vehicle was seen fleeing the incident northbound on Dolly Warden. On Wednesday, Toronto Police said in a release that the victim, identified as 21-year-old Toronto resident Dequan Demos, died in hospital on Friday. On Monday, police arrested and charged 22-year-old Lawrence Bruce of Markham with one count of first-degree murder, one count of attempted murder, and several firearms-related charges, the release said. Bruce made a first appearance in the court on Tuesday at Toronto Regional Bail Centre in Courtroom 103.
Thank you for tuning in. I'm Kubra Ali. I'll see you back tomorrow, same time, same channel. Have a good night.